Hello, everyone. I'm Mike Vasilinda. This week on Facing Florida, public sector pensions are on the line. You'll hear from the man pushing reform in the State House. Then, the tax that's owed but seldom collected. We'll talk to the Retail Federation about the unfairness of not taxing internet sales. There was some movement this week. A Senate committee approved the streamlined sales tax measure. Joining me now, Rick McAllister, the president of the Florida Retail Federation. Mr. McAllister, thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
All right, so you have a large interest in the state collecting taxes on remote sales, not just internet, but also catalog sales.
There are a few things that are less unfair than asking some folks to collect a sales tax while others don't have to. I mean, you can't operate a tax system that works discriminatorily like that, and you can't ask retailers or anybody else really to compete with someone who's not having to collect taxes. Let me give you an example. Let's say we heard next week that there was a large landowner who was going to open a huge new shopping center. It's going to have a little twist. Some people in the shopping center were going to have to collect the sales tax, others were not. Now, how many of those we're going to have to collect would actually rent space?
Right.
None.
Exactly.
And that's what's happening right now. So some internet retailers have to collect the tax, other internet retailers don't. That's wrong.
You know, some people argue, well, but if you buy on the internet, you got to pay shipping, so you get your price bumped up. But that's much cheaper. Give me a sense. Do you care? There's about $2 to $4 billion that's out there.
Yeah, I would guess somewhere closer to $2 billion now, because so many of the Main Street sort of retailers who also have an internet presence, they're collecting the tax already, and that's a portion of it. But there are some very large retailers who are just leaps and bounds growing their business based on not having to charge the tax. It's a huge advantage. It's part of their marketing strategy, and it's wrong. I mean, the rest of us are buying property, we're building buildings, we're hiring employees, we're paying our taxes, and yet Florida does not require some folks to pay that tax. Our point is, if you're not going to make some do it, don't make the rest of us do it.
Now, were you surprised this week when Senator Evan Lynn was able to pass that bill in the committee and even get it heard?
We were surprised that it got scheduled. We were very pleased. We worked it. We were very pleased to get it passed. Where it will go from now is another question. It probably won't go much further.
Right. Now, the issue, though, is with Congress, Congress really has to act nationally to make the $2 billion work. Right. But there is money to be had now if this were to pass.
Well, there are people who will voluntarily collect it once you join the compact and once you change your definition so that all states that they're voluntarily collecting for have the same rules. That's what would happen to get immediate money. There are other ways to get internet taxes collected now, which are simply to say that those internet retailers have nexus. They have something going on in the state of Florida which would require them to collect the tax. There are ways to do that.
Other states are doing it.
New York has done it, Illinois has done it, North Carolina has done it, Texas, a lot of states have done that. And they're immediately collecting millions of dollars, and it levels the playing field. Mike, it is not fair for folks to have to collect taxes and other folks not. It's just not fair.
Let's keep talking about taxes in a different vein. You have been pushing the legislature, which is somewhat skeptical at this point, about another sales tax holiday. It is moving, but there are questions about whether the state can afford a sales tax holiday for back to school. Why do you think that is? Why do you think the state can afford it?
First of all, it doesn't cost the state a penny. We've been for 10 years saying all you have to do is look at the Department of Revenue numbers to see that when there's a back-to-school sales tax holiday, tax collections don't go down, they go up because it's a stimulus. I mean, we aren't tax exempting everything. We're only tax exempting a small section of the retail goods. And so it causes a stimulus effect. People go out, they shop, they buy. A lot of what they buy is fully taxable. And so this year we did a study. This is not economic theory. This is what happened last year during the sales tax holiday. What we found was the state collected $7 million more than they would have collected without the sales tax holiday. That's pretty cut and dried.
Now, these things started at 10 days, and they're now down to 3 days?
That's right.
And is the stimulus there in a 3-day?
Yes, it is. It was a $7 million gain last year, factual, on DOR's books, no question about it. It would be more if it were 10, but we haven't been able to convince the revenue estimators in the legislature that they're wrong. and we'll continue to work on that. I think it will pass by the end of the session. It's the most popular thing that the legislature does. Families love it all over the state. It's the only way that they can give tax money back to all families. And so it's really a great event, and I'm confident they will pass it.
Let's talk about a renewable energy just for a second, because I know the Retail Federation was pushing legislation, and in theory what the large chain stores that own shopping centers would like to do is put solar on the roof and then provide electricity to the whole shopping center. They can't do that under current law, and there was stripped from a Senate bill earlier in the session. Why do you want to do that? Why is that good public policy?
We have a lot of interest in renewables, period. We've got to get into the renewables marketplace. It's a shame for Florida, of all places, not to be the leader in renewable energy. The problem we have is that the IOUs, the investor-owned utilities, and the other regulated utility companies currently control all production of energy, all production of utility.
The courts have ruled it's their purview.
They're a regulated industry. Nobody can compete with them. They're the ones. So I, as a homeowner, or I as a business, can produce a solar array on my roof and I can consume it. But if I'm a strip center and I own all the stores and I'm leasing out, I can't sell that excess utility that I have to those folks. We think that's wrong and that ought to be corrected. But more than that, the renewables market in this state will never grow if the IOUs control it. It needs to be an open marketplace, whether it's solar or wind or biomass or whatever it is. If you open that market up, investors will come with capital, manufacturers will come, it will be a robust market, and it will be a good thing for all citizens in the state of Florida.
Rick McAllister, we're out of time. Thanks so much, and appreciate you being here with me. Everyone else, stay with us. When we come back, we'll talk politics.